Here we are back in Oil Leak City with the Norton Nomad that stood over the weekend on the bike lift with this strip tray underneath it. That one has got what was left in the primary case when I took the cover off. This is what we got caught in it over the weekend while it was underneath the bike. And at the moment I've got the sump guard, or bash plate if you prefer, off, and obviously the two studs that hold it on and also pass through both frame loops underneath the engine and through the crankcases themselves. And I'd been a bit sort of concerned about the oiliness appearing on the engine above the frame tube to some degree, and it was dripping off the nut here and onto the sump guard, and I've just attempted to reseal the primary case again, but I haven't put any oil in it. And the reason for that is I want to let the bike stand now for a while and just monitor this lot here and see if we get any oiliness again. When I pulled the this stud out of this hole, it was oily all the way along, and there was oiliness around here and obviously on the lugs of the sump guard as well. But what I want to try and determine is whether that oiliness was actually coming somehow from the back of the primary case. The inner primary case, where it fastens to the engine, I've got silicone sealant on that between its face and the corresponding face on the crankcase where it screws together. I've got mild thread locking compound or bearing fitting compound on the threads of the screws to try and seal them. But what we're going to find out here is whether the oiliness comes back, and if it does, I'll know that it's engine related, and if I need to, I might well try and machine a couple of grooves for O-rings on this stud to try and help it seal where it passes through the crankcases. But if nothing appears, then I'll know that the culprit has been the primary case. I'm really sort of hoping it's not, because like I say, I think I've done everything I can to try and seal the inner case where it mates up to the crankcase, and like I say, I've got silicone sealant in there as well, so I'd be surprised, but these things can happen. But if I see oiliness appearing here now with the primary case empty, I'll know that the area I've got to try and work on is there. So I've just got to let it stand like this for quite a few hours, possibly even overnight. But after a good length of time standing, if no oiliness appears there now, I will know at least that it was down to the primary case for whatever reason. So at least I'll know for definite what the culprit is. So now we just have to wait.